Now, I want to follow up on a story that started here in Texas but is getting attention nationwide. It's Epic City, a self-sustaining Muslim community, including faith-based schools, mosque, and 1,000 homes. But before developers could start construction, Governor Greg Abbott hit pause, saying they failed to obtain required permits. And just this week, the state's Attorney General Ken Paxton expanded his probe into the development. Meanwhile, Texas Senator John Cornyn is pushing the DOJ to investigate if it violates the constitutional rights of Christians and Jewish residents of Collin County. Some multi-faith community leaders don't think it's a problem.
They have chosen to abuse their power by launching groundless investigations against Epic, blocking funerals, intimidating children and families, and violating their rights to constitutionally protected religious expression.
As Jews against racism and hatred in all its forms, we stand steadfast alongside our Muslim siblings and neighbors.
Those are voices from CARE and Jewish Voices for Peace. We've seen both of those groups, specifically Jewish Voices for Peace, behind many of the protests across our country over this last year. Developers do say all are welcome, though, in this new neighborhood. Joining me now is Texas Senator John Cornyn. Senator, thanks for being with us. You've asked the DOJ to look into Epic City. What do you suspect needs to be investigated?
Well, if this is actually a place that welcomes only people of one particular religion, that's a potential civil rights violation. That's why I think an investigation is appropriate. We're a pluralistic society. We believe that we should welcome people of all sorts of different faiths and people of no faith. But here, if Christians and Jews will be excluded, that's a problem under the Constitution and under our civil rights laws. And so we're asking to have an investigation so we can know what the facts are.
Yeah, the developers say on that note, Senator, that all are welcome. It is going to be a community dedicated to the needs and wants of Muslims, but if theoretically a Hindu wants to buy a home in Epic City, that they would be allowed to do so. You just want to ensure that that's the case through your investigation?
Well, if that's true, then they shouldn't fear this investigation. All we're asking to get is the truth and the facts, rather than some public relations answer. So the investigation shouldn't be of a concern to anybody if, in fact, that's the case.
All right, let's set aside for a moment the potential constitutional violations. I think everyone watching, and you and I both agree, that would be a big problem and would shut down this development. But assuming they open it up to others of other faiths, Senator, it still is not the end of the conversation, on both sides for that matter. Developments like these, neighborhoods like these, have proven to be a bad idea in many countries. You've seen no-go zones in places like Birmingham, UK, outside of Paris, in France, Amsterdam, Netherlands, Sweden, Germany. These are areas that are overwhelmingly dedicated to Islamic faith. Islamism becomes a bed, a hotbed in these neighborhoods. And the question is, does our Constitution require us to allow the similar type of development in the United States if they're not exclusionary?
Well, I think there needs to be assimilation. That used to be the goal of immigration laws, so people can come here from places all around the world, people of many different faiths, and simply become Americans, become assimilated into American society, not create exclusion zones or little enclaves where no one else is welcome. And again, Will, that's all we're asking for, the facts.
Right. And Senator, one more question on this, though, because I think you just did, and I am as well, giving the should of this. This is a bad idea. This should not be something, even if legal, is ultimately done here in the United States. But we do have the freedom of religion and the freedom of association, and there are communities developed around some like-minded people, like-minded religious faiths. If it's not exclusionary, how is there any type of governmental response to say, well, we think this is a bad idea, is there anything you can do about it?
Well, if it doesn't violate the Constitution and it doesn't violate civil rights laws, then I would say they're free to proceed. But there's a lot of reports that would bear investigation. The practices of Sharia law, I don't know whether that's the case or not, but I'm concerned enough to ask the Department of Justice to look into it. And again, if there's nothing awry, then there's nothing to be concerned about.
All right. Well, it's a deep, not just legal question, but cultural question, not just here in Texas, but all across America. And we intend to stay on it here at The Will Cain Show. Senator, thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be with you. Congratulations on the new show.